Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge with Ryan and Meg from the Fledge, Wisconsin, or Madison. I'm sorry. How you guys doing today?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
All right. So for everyone who might tune in here, 10,000 Fledges is a 10-minute discussion about a particular topic that you face when you're building a fledge. So Ryan and Meg are going to introduce a topic today. I'm going to flip our sophisticated timer, and we're going to talk about it till the sand runs out.
Awesome.
So,
I'm so glad to be here together. Are you ready to go?
I am ready to go. If you're ready to go, you can say
what.
Okay,
let's go. Yeah. So I've been hearing in like some psychedelic spaces, some intentional community spaces, capitalism used as like a dirty word or kind of like a stand-in for consumerism, for like grind culture. And so it has me thinking, is there a way to do capitalism potentially that is heart-centered, that is value-centered, that isn't like stepping on top of other people? So I wonder, like, how does that play out? We're starting businesses, or we are starting organizations. Is there a heart-centered way to do capitalism? What might that look like?
I think that there is, but it's really tough because capitalism, it is, even to me, a dirty word, right? I cringe when I say it. I call myself, or I tell you that, or I tell people sometimes that everyone thinks I'm a capitalist pig because I'm going to try to take, $10 worth of resource and turn it into $20 worth of resource. But I think it's what your moral compass is, and it's what your values are. So we talk a lot about values. We talk about a vision. We talk about a mission. And I think that the capitalism that we see today has lost its moral compass. And Adam Smith, when he wrote about capitalism and he talked about a moral compass, he kind of had a God view on it, and that there would be this invisible hand that would kind of lead us in the right way and make sure that it stayed moral. But then you get, for-profit universities that, prey on people who just Googled a payday loan. And then all of a sudden you've got, a for-profit university showing up in your advertisement saying, hey, you can get more money this way or apply for a student loan here. And it becomes predatory. And then, you've got Apple or somebody saying, all right, you've got to upgrade your iPhone because now we have a red back. And so it's not really even any improvement or anything that you need. It's just feeding on, I need to have this because other people don't. And I think, to sustain, if we go back to our pond analogy, we always use this as kind of, a pond doesn't discriminate. Whatever falls in the pond is a part of the hand that's dealt. A pond is radically inclusive because it has to play that hand that it's dealt. And, a pond, it uses the sun to create more algae, and that algae then is eaten by more fish and birds and animals and things like that. And it's always producing more resource based on maybe a seed or a spore that fell into the pond. So I always think and try to define what we're doing entrepreneurially as we've got a limited set of resources that we're starting with. We've got a problem that we're solving for our community. And in the capitalist world, you'd call it our customer base or our market or whatever. But I think of it as we're solving a problem for the community. And if the community sees value in that solution, then they will start to give back to that solution. So they'll give me more resource back so that we can produce more resource and solve the problem more. So I think that is an example of capitalism where it has a moral compass. We're solving a problem for the community, and we're not just scraping all the money off. Nobody's getting value. And then we're building big mansions out in the suburbs and leaving, the people in our community, in our neighborhood, left behind. So I kind of start there, and wouldn't mind a little feedback on that if you have.
Yeah, for sure. That resonates. I definitely, we've been looking at capitalism, and I have internally been like, wow, this isn't as cut and dry as I thought it was before, because even Apple, like, I don't think that we should, I don't know. There's questions on whether we should have a new iPhone each year and, release a new iPhone and stop supporting the, 5 versions behind. That's a lot of work, and I understand why they stopped supporting it. And also, but it's not quite as cut and dry, because like my iPhone helps me get around Madison, or that we just moved here and we don't really know how to get around here. So, we could ask for directions, but it's just not as quite that they are providing value, but it's also wasteful in a lot of ways and pollutes the environment in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is about like putting profits over relationships, or putting relationships and like our values at the center of what we're doing. And I love that, like, in this environment, I'm able to like create a business, like create things and put it out in the community, get some feedback in terms of like, do people want to support it?
Yeah.
And we talked about recently, like, I don't necessarily want everything to be centralized. Like, I like the decentralization of like us being able to start our own organizations too.
Yeah. I think that, well, let me ask you something. What are some of the if I say capitalist or capitalist pig even, what are some of the words that pop in your head? What are some of the, what's the stigma around that?
Greed.
Picture like a bank and like a person in a suit that's like doesn't have time for you.
Yeah, but that's not what we see around here. That's not what you're trying to do. You'll hear me often say we're in an economy of relationships. We always have been, and we always will be. So sometimes, you talk about an economy of labor and an economy of capital, an economy of information like we're in today, and moving into maybe an economy of transformation. But you never really hear me say, how are we going to be billionaires? How are we going to make our first million? That's never been a topic that we really discuss. What we really discuss is, who are we helping? Are we helping them enough? And how can we get more resource so we can help them more? And that economy of relationships is what makes all of this work fulfilling. And if it becomes all automated and dang, 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 and we get this money and maybe some people got fed, but at least the, executive directors are getting paid, that's completely losing our moral compass and where we think we should be going. And so you'll often hear me talk about value-centered and having a mission around, or a vision around those values, a mission that you drive towards to make that vision occur, but within those values. So wrap your values around it again. And then I'll challenge entrepreneurs, when you start making a lot of money, how are you going to stick to that value system? You get in a tight spot and your mortgage is due. How are you going to keep from screwing somebody to make sure you pay your mortgage? And it's a tough question, and it's scary. And yeah, there's models out there that maybe are considered not capitalism, but I bet if you go back to that definition of, you've got so much resource and you're trying to sustain, how do you sustain if your resource gets depleted and you're not generating more? So
I've been looking at some other potential models, like what does like post-capitalism look like, or what are other models that could potentially be helpful? And there's a lot out there. There's a lot to learn. So
Yeah,
I want to put this out there. Like if anybody's watching or listening and is like, hey, I know of another way, or like want to share information, like definitely let us know.
Because to from my naive place, I'm gonna say I don't know that much, but from my naive place, it feels like heart-centered capitalism could be okay. Like if we all have that moral compass and we all come from it, could capitalism be okay? Like could it be not troublesome?
well, let me throw mutual aid in there for a second, okay? So we've got these free stands outside. We've got the Capital City Market, the Urban Meyer that's down the street, giving donations to us almost every single day. We've got people from the community coming and giving food, but people are coming and taking that food. So if we started with, the 10 boxes of canned goods that we originally had, whatever that was, and put it out in the free stand, and people just came and took it, then that might last a day, maybe an hour, right? So now all of that resource is gone. How do we replenish that resource? Well, we ask people to donate. We try to talk to the people that are going to be throwing stuff out, like grocery stores, and we gather that resource. So the community comes through, says, this is a problem we want to help to solve. They give us more resource. We restock the stands, and we have taken resource that we had that was limited. Now we're solving a problem. The community is funding it more. We're getting more resource. To me, capitalism, the only difference between that and capitalism is that capitalism talks about dollars, and I'd be taking half the food before I distributed it to the people. But we don't do that, right? And I don't want to do that with my companies. And I hopefully am showing that to people. I'm not here to get rich. I'm getting more minimalist. I'm getting more committed. And I think most people that work with us are as well. And if you come to us and you want to build a beer pong game and all of that, yeah, we'll start to help you out with that. But we're really going to start, what are your values? Why are you doing this? Do you like the drunk culture that we have at Michigan State University? Is that really healthy for our community? And we try to pivot people that way. Good topic, because yes.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So we're going to continue this. If you watch this, leave comments later, get some comments to us, reach out to us. We would love to have you join the discussion. This is an important part of what I think we're trying to do, and how we kind of blend in with what's happening now, but change what's happening now. And anarchy, I'd love to talk about, because we could build a leaderless, a primus inter pares type of strategy around this, and not have to have the hierarchy, but have a more loose way of looking at this. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create the next economy by building on the current one.
Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to Dan for saying hi, and hi, Jody Washington. Everyone, any comments you have? Capitalism with a moral compass would be great. I think you hit the nail on the head. Thank you, Jody. So that concludes 10,000 Fledges for the week. We'll do it again next Saturday, and we'll probably keep expanding on this topic. So everyone have a good week, and we will talk to you later.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya.